I will keep my remarks brief this morning. There are so many beautiful texts in the Torah, as in every holy book, but sometimes we come across a text that is uncomfortable for us, as we would in any holy book. And we have one of those texts in this week's Parsha. Everything is very matter-of-fact, going along like clockwork, assigning people different jobs. And then towards the very end of the portion, it says, the Levites should not go into the sanctuary and actually see any of the holy objects. Rather, the Kohanes, the priestly class, should go and wrap those objects up. And if the Levites do go into the tent of meeting and see the sacred objects, they will die, which to us seems maybe a bit extreme. So, what do you do when you come across one of these difficult texts? There are two ways that I take it when I'm giving a sermon. The first is to say it's a product of its time, it was written for a different civilization, and it made sense then. The other way you can take it is as a metaphor, and that's what I'd like to do this morning. There was once a rabbi, Nachman of Breslov, one of the great Hasidic rabbis of the 19th century. He was very pious. He would pray every morning, and he would carefully put on his talit, his prayer shawl, and his tefillin, those boxes with prayers inside that have the black straps on the arm and the head. Now, not only was Rabbi Nachman meticulous about prayer, he was meticulous about his first cup of coffee in the morning. I know none of us have that problem, but he did. You are supposed to remove your ritual prayer objects before taking that first sip of coffee. These are not meant to be worn in everyday scenarios. They're meant to help us focus on our ritual life. And one morning, Rabbi Nachman's student came a bit early to his home, and he saw the rabbi taking that first sip of coffee, and the rabbi had not yet removed his tefillin and talit. And so the student went out and told all the other students, did you know that you can take that first sip of coffee while you're wearing your tefillin and talit? All right. So, of course, Rabbi Nachman, one of the great marks of a good leader is how they address their human mistakes, right? How they go back to the community and correct themselves. And so he brought this verse from our Parsha. He said, you should not have the Levites go into the tabernacle and see the sacred objects, lest they die. So what is the metaphor? What he was saying was, I made a mistake. And there is something important about ritual objects remaining a bit aloof or mysterious or handled in a very careful way, because there will be a bit of a spiritual death if we don't do that. Your tefillin will not be able to help you focus on your prayers as they once did if you wear them when you're mowing the lawn and doing the laundry. They're not meant for that purpose, right? And as wonderful as our preschool is, I'm going to go over there and teach them words of Torah in a minute. Yes, I want them to feel comfortable in the sanctuary, but not to the point where they would take the Torah out and color on it, right? There are sacred objects, and Rabbi Nachman's point with this verse is that there's a value in keeping things sacred and mysterious. And I would add, since we began this sermonette by saying, what do we do with a difficult text? There is no text that we should throw out, because we have centuries of sages interpreting the text in these beautiful metaphors to help increase our connection to the divine. And so my hope for us this morning, my Shabbat blessing, is that we are all game for diving deeper into the text and consulting those commentaries and finding ways to connect to even the most difficult of texts. Shabbat Shalom.